Hello and welcome to Southgate Wind Farm's presentation for Ayrshire Meet the Buyer. My name is Carol McInnes-Kane and I'm Regional Liaison Officer for Vattenfall, the major energy company which is developing Southgate Wind Farm here in southwest Scotland. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today as a guest of McLeod, who are our principal civil engineering contractor at Southgate. Vattenfall and McLeod have a long history of working together, and I believe that Southgate is the fourth major Vattenfall project undertaken by RJs, but the first here in Ayrshire. Now, one of Vattenfall's guiding principles at Southgate Wind Farm is to maximise local opportunities, be that in terms of jobs, skills development, or for local businesses. So today I wanted to provide a bit of background on what that means in practice, what it could mean for your business, and provide you with some context and background on both Vattenfall and the Southgate project. I'll then hand over to Andy and Christina from McLeod to look more closely at the opportunities on site. I hope you find it interesting and useful, and if you're a local business who can offer something to the project, please do not hesitate to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. So first of all, a bit about Vattenfall. Vattenfall is one of Europe's largest producers of electricity and heat. We're 100% owned by the Swedish state, and the business was established in 1909 and is said to be one of the world's first state-owned power producers. Main products are electricity, heat, gas, and various energy services. And the main markets are Sweden, Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, and the United Kingdom, with almost 20,000 employees across the globe. Now, if you can make out the map on the right-hand side, there are a fair number of green dots on and around Sweden, and these represent hydroelectricity projects, which is the roots of Vattenfall as a business. And in fact, Vattenfall means waterfall in Swedish. Now, you might also be able to just about make out the pale blue dots on and around the UK, and they represent wind energy projects, which make up the majority of Vattenfall's operations here in Britain. We entered the British market in 2008 and have invested £3.5 billion in the UK energy system, with projects right across the country and offices in Edinburgh, London, Hexham and Penzance. There's around about 1 gigawatt of wind already in operation, and that's enough to power nearly 1 million British homes. And in addition to our wind energy business, there's also a district heating business, which was launched in 2018. Now, in Scotland, we have a significant portfolio of interests, but before I can move on to that, I wanted to share with you a short video from last year, which summarises our activities in the UK. So moving on to Vattenfall in Scotland. And here we have a number of operational projects, plus many more in construction, including Southgate and more in the pipeline, which of course are subject to planning. And I've listed some of these projects in the table in this slide. So you can see we've got Skye, Aberdeenshire, East Ayrshire and Dumfries and Galloway, Midlothian, Murray and Argyll and Bute all have some Vattenfall project, either in action or in the pipeline. So there's a really good broad geographical spread, but there are two main clusters of activity, the northeast and here in the southwest of Scotland. Now moving on specifically to South Kyle Wind Farm and some background on this multi-million-pound renewables investment. As you can see here on the map, this site is in East Ayrshire and in Dumfries and Galloway. And as we zoom in on the right, you can see it's roughly in a triangle between Newcomnock, Dunmellington and Carrsfairn, with Patna nearby. We're especially keen to hear from any businesses based in these areas especially, and indeed across the wider Ayrshire and Dumfries and Galloway or the South West Scotland region. Now, South Kyle Wind Farm is a 3-year construction project, and we commenced on site in July of 2020. Felling and clearing forestry was the initial focus in 2020, with construction proper getting underway before the end of the year. Now the focus is on civils, with roads, access, foundations and so on. And next year, turbines will start being delivered and installed. The project is on track to be fully commissioned and operational by 2023. And now throughout the building of the wind farm, the priorities are to construct the development safely, on time and to budget, maximise opportunities for local jobs, businesses and communities, protect and enhance the natural environment, and create a bespoke community benefits arrangement. And across all of this is Vattenfall's key objective, which is to enable fossil-free living within a generation. Moving on to the scale and what the project is all about. The number of people working on site varies from time to time, but currently it's sitting at around about 400, and there are many more in support roles off-site. Once completed, South Kyle Wind Farm will comprise of 50 turbines and associated infrastructure with a capacity to generate 240 megawatts. And that's enough electricity to power around about 170,000 homes on average, which works out at around about 7% of all the households in Scotland. Or another way of looking at it is that would be all the homes in East Ayrshire, South Ayrshire and Dumfries and Galloway combined. And so I suppose that gives you a bit of a sense of the scale of the operation that we're building. With that amount of renewable energy being generated, that would equate to a reduction of around about 300,000 tonnes of carbon. And as well as generating electricity, South Kyle will also generate a fund for local communities worth around about £38 million over 25 years. And I think it's also worth noting that considerable work is being undertaken as part of the project to protect and enhance the habitats of local wildlife. So this next slide really is about who's building the wind farm. And here I've noted the key Tier 1 contractors on the project. Obviously, we've got McLeod from Glasgow, and I've also mentioned here Natural Power from Dumfries and Galloway, who are based just around about 20 minutes down the road from site. A lot of the opportunities to work as part of the project would be as subcontractors to our Tier 1s, and Andy and Christina can talk about that a little bit later on. But it's also worth noting that there are opportunities directly to supply Vattenfall, particularly the engagement team, of which I'm a part, with things, for example, like printing, photography, branded workwear, catering, etc. All these sorts of things we're procuring locally wherever possible. Now, maximising local content in our supply chain is a key priority for Vattenfall at South Kyle Wind Farm. And we recognise that South West Scotland has the potential to become a green energy hub. And South Kyle, plus the potential developments at Quantons and Whitenuke and Dumfries and Galloway, they could play a major part in helping to power Scotland towards net zero and provide green shoots of recovery from the economic damage of COVID-19. And as a business, Vattenfall wants to work with local communities, with suppliers and partners, to not only coordinate how our investments might benefit specific localities, but also to explore and create significant opportunities across the region throughout South West Scotland. Now, at South Kyle, we're putting that into practice in a number of different ways, and I've listed here just a few bullet points. So we're using local suppliers wherever feasible, and we're supporting our contractors to do likewise. We're encouraging social enterprises to get involved, and we're collaborating with anchor institutions and agencies to identify further opportunities. Trying to keep an open mind and be innovative where possible. And there are a few examples here of both on-site and off-site business, which has been undertaken by local businesses. So things like accommodation providers, Signwriters is a social enterprise company delivering some of our signage, catering, print, photography, filming, distribution, security are just a few of the areas that are provided by local businesses. And I've also added in there communications because I too am an external supplier myself. I own a business here in Ayrshire, and I've been in business in this area for over 10 years. I'm absolutely thrilled and excited to be working on this amazing project, which really is bringing so many opportunities for the local community here in Ayrshire. And I can see the determination of that dedication to the local supply chain in action every day. Each time somebody from site shares with me a picture of the latest activity there's nearly always some branding of a truck or a plant or some workwear, which I recognise as being from a business and that I know of from South West Scotland. So it really is great to know that the project is supporting jobs and businesses throughout our communities. If yours is a business that you think could potentially add to our project and be part of it, please do get in touch. I think it's also important to note that Vattenfall really does value the supply chain, especially those local suppliers, and from tier 1 contractors to local caterers, accommodation providers, printers, workwear companies and so on. Over the coming months, we're going to be celebrating some of these businesses and the role that they play in helping us deliver the project with a series of case studies and short videos. And I want to close my presentation today with an example of one of these short videos, and that's of a local business many of you will be familiar with, and that is the Port of Ayr.
My name's Stuart Creswell. I'm the port manager for the Port of Ayr, and I'm responsible for all of the import and export operations that happen at the Port of Ayr. Port of Ayr is one of the main West Coast import facilities for wind turbines. As far as wind turbines are concerned, the transport of the material through the port and to the site has a big impact on our business, has a big impact on the local community. Clearly the port will make money from that, but also it's the less visible aspects. So many of the local contractors will be staying in local accommodation. Most of the people that are working on site on a daily basis will be visiting local shops. There's a widespread positive economic impact that is very welcome. We work with many wind farm companies. Vattenfall in particular have made commitments to the local supply chains, which often can be forgotten about, and that's the thing that ultimately will make the difference.
Thank you again to everyone at Ayrshire Meet the Buyer for welcoming Vattenfall here today. As I said, we would love to hear from you. If you feel that you've got something that you can offer the project or the business, please do get in touch. I'll now hand over to Christina from McLeod, who will fill you in on their approach and their work at Southgate Wind Farm. And thanks again.
Hello everyone, I'm Christina McKittrick. I'm McLeod's Corporate Social Responsibility Manager. It's my job to ensure projects like Southgate Wind Farm are delivered in a socially responsible way. I propose, coordinate and oversee the delivery of the company's contractual and voluntary community benefits. Here at Southgate Wind Farm, that includes priority group recruitment and employment, targeted skills and training, including educational support and careers inspiration, vocational training and qualifying the workforce, supply chain development, including SME and SE mentoring, plus all manners of community engagement. I'm a QS to trade and I've been with McLeod since I graduated. In fact, prior to that, I was lucky enough to be given work experience with the company and spent my undergraduate work placement with McLeod as a student QS. And that was decades before the phrase community benefits was ever uttered amidst a construction site. When the Scottish Government did first consider introducing community benefit clauses into their procurement processes, McLeod was right there at the very beginning. We were instrumental in the success of their CV pilot study, the Raploch URC. Our evidential case reports and lessons learned were subsequently utilised by the Scottish Government in promoting community benefit clauses in the procurement of all their future works. We take pride in evidencing the wide range of community benefits delivered as part of the construction process wherever we build. And we still have operatives on our books today recruited under that original government CV pilot at the Raploch. Community wealth building is right at the heart of McLeod. We've never had a central buying department. All McLeod sites have always engaged locally, and that's why we're here with you today. Yes, it's a little bit different from the norm, being filmed and beamed out to you all virtually, despite the lockdown here. And we realise it's not as easy right now to just roll up on site and see what's going down or up, or share a coffee, or just drop a business card for the attention of the agent or the general foreman. However, thanks to our friends Gillian, Fran and Jennifer at the Supplier Development Programme, we're able to give you an insight into our partnership with Vattenfall, and thank you for that, Carol, and open the doors virtually to the South Kyle Wind Farm site. My colleague Andy Gillen is in charge of the site at South Kyle. Andy and a few of his team are here with us today and happy to chat with you if you drop by our stand. Andy's coming up next and he'll tell you a bit about our procurement processes shortly and how you can engage with him and the team safely and in line with COVID restrictions. I would like to tell you a little bit about McLeod. We're a privately owned Scottish contractor working within the civil engineering market, and we operate through our head office in Glasgow and our north office in Dingwall. Since our formation in 1951, we've been associated with a variety of civil engineering disciplines. Today, our portfolio includes site infrastructure, streetscaping, both local and national road construction, marine and waterways, and energy and electrical works. With over 100 wind farms to our name and hydro energy experience dating back to the 1950s, we're one of Scotland's leading renewable energy construction companies. We have proven design and build capabilities in wind, hydro and wave energy, as well as electrical grid works, including substations and underground cable routes. We've actually grown over the past 70 years from an SME ourselves, and therefore appreciate the challenges that SMEs face. We take pride in developing and maintaining the excellent relations we have with our supply chains across the length and breadth of Scotland. We actively support local social enterprises, third sector and supported businesses too. If you represent an Ayrshire social enterprise, third sector or supported business and haven't already popped along to our stand this morning, please do so or drop me your contact details in the hub before you leave today. All McLeod sites offer some element of closed forum bidding to local social enterprises, third sector and supported businesses. Even if what you have to offer isn't featured on Andy's list of prospective suppliers, subcontractors or service providers, please come and introduce yourself to me. And if there isn't an opportunity for you at South Kyle today, there may be an opportunity later down the line for us to do business with you. Ewan Easton, our submissions manager, will be dropping in and out of the exhibition today, and he can advise on the type of everyday works we tender for directly to the Ayrshire councils. Ewan ensures that all the information required to support our tenders are provided to the client on time. Also, David Baxter, our quality manager, will be stopping by, and David can tell you how you can join our supply chain as an approved vendor for these or for future works. Nicole McClement will be here too, as our HR manager, Nicole plus Carol and her team at Vattenfall, with a large group at the East Ayrshire Council's Renewables Recruitment Task Group. At our monthly meetings with the Renewables Recruitment Task Group, we work with Ayr Job Centre, Skills Development Scotland and various other Ayrshire establishments to help locals get wind farm work ready. Nicole can point you in the right direction to find employment through McLeod, Vattenfall or our supply chain at South Kyle Wind Farm. Apart from the guys here today, Ewan, David, Nicole, Andy plus his team, I'm also closely supported by our training department and our health and safety department. The training and health and safety folk aren't here at the exhibition today, but if you have a query relating to training requirements or a health and safety matter, again, leave me your contact details and I'll be more than happy to have a member of our team get in touch with you. On the subject of health and safety, something worth mentioning to you, should you join our South Kyle Wind Farm supply chain, we reward fault-free health and safety on site with a monthly £100 site safety bonus. Each month, the site team chooses a local good cause to benefit from their site safety bonus. So far, the site has supported various food bank deliveries, the donation of reconditioned laptops to the local community, Easter treats for an East Ayrshire Active Schools event, and trout stocking Loch Muck. Next month, the site has opted to assist Dune Academy in purchasing outdoor sports and recreational equipment. Vattenfall have kindly matched our donation, and I'll be personally shaking a virtual can around our suppliers to chip in a few pounds to help bolster the kitty for this good cause. Our dedicated staff and standard site procedures deliver genuine community wealth building as part of the daily routine at South Kyle Wind Farm. It's in our DNA at McLeod to do so. Through this local engagement with you here today, which extends right across the Ayrshire authorities, we've joined with our client Vattenfall as they look to maximise opportunities for local businesses in South West Scotland and help power Scotland towards net zero. Together with them and yourselves, I hope we will all benefit from the positive ethos gained and promote its ripple effect, both contract and community-wide. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to hand over now to Andy to tell you in detail a bit about the supply chain opportunities at South Kyle Wind Farm. Thanks, take care.
Thanks, Christina. Hello, my name is Andy Gillen, and I'm the project manager for Ayrshire McLeod, the principal contractor responsible for delivering at South Kyle Wind Farm. So, South Kyle Wind Farm comprises 54.2 megawatt wind turbines, each turbine with a tip height of 149.5 metres above ground level. We've got on-site roads and hard stand construction, drainage, a number of bridges to construct, building works, foundations and electrical installations. So Ayrshire McLeod is the principal contractor, but we're also the balance of plant contractor. We are the electrical balance of plant contractor and the contractor for off-site roadworks. So maybe an explanation of how a wind farm project is managed might be helpful for those not familiar with industry. So the developer, in this case Vattenfall, engages with a number of contractors. The main contractors are the turbine supplier, the balance of plant contractor, and the electrical balance of plant. The turbine supplier delivers and constructs all of the components required to construct, commission and operate the turbines. The balance of plant contractor provides the balance or everything else. The electrical balance of plant contractor provides the balance of the electrical works that aren't carried out by the turbine supplier. So, as the balance of plant contractor, Ayrshire McLeod carry out unbound track construction, that's new and upgraded. And we've got about 48 kilometres of track to construct, and that's split between upgrade of existing forestry and new construction. We've got concrete foundations to build. We've got building works. There are two buildings, the wind farm substation and the connection compound. We've got culverts, drainage, we've got bridges to build. We have quarrying and muck shifting, roadworks and structural work. So who do we employ? Most of the work that we do is carried out by Ayrshire McLeod employees, which typically include pipe layers, plant operators, ground workers, concrete squads, supervisory staff, managers and engineers. Ayrshire McLeod also has an internal plant hire company. As a privately owned Scottish company, Ayrshire McLeod prefer to use local suppliers where we can. External suppliers generally fall into one of three categories. So that's plant hire, subcontractors and material supply. Our own plant is often supplemented using externally hired plant. This is typically divided into two categories. We have operated plant and non-operated plant. So examples of operated plant would be excavators, articulated dump trucks, crushing and screening plant, tractors, mobile cranes. For non-operated plant, that could be small tools, generators and hand tools, or compressors, pumps, dumpers, 4x4 vehicles, welfare units or generators. A selection of the type of materials we purchase could be concrete aggregates, sand, reinforcement steel, geotextiles, plastic pipes, concrete pipes, environmental materials, so silt fencing, posts, spill kits and remediation, or timber. Subcontractors generally fall into two categories as well. We've got our specialist subcontractors who provide all of their own plant labour and materials and provide a service. Examples of that could be grouting or waterproofing, building works, asphalt or roadworks, white lining, traffic management, design work, electrical works or fencing. The other category is labour-only subcontractors, and they could be suppliers of general operatives, labour, ground workers, steel fixers, joiners, engineers or electricians. There's no central buying department at either our head office in Glasgow or our regional office in Dingwall. Now, each project is a business hub in its own right, and all procurement is site-based. The agent is Ayrshire McLeod's representative on site, and he is authorised to act on the company's behalf in all matters, including buying and procuring of subcontracts or materials. Sometimes the agent will delegate the procurement to the sub-agent or general foreman, depending on what type of plant or material is required. Either way, quotations are requested and comparisons made before placing an order. The best value service or product is chosen based on quality, service, cost, proximity to site and past experience. Materials orders are placed using a purchase order and subcontracts are placed by our quantity surveyor. Now, some of the services we sometimes require locally we don't always have contacts for, and these could include blacksmiths, cleaners, electricians, plumbers, building supplies, catering, agricultural suppliers, or accommodation. So, if you think you may be able to provide a service, supply materials, or personnel, please come and visit us at the virtual exhibition today. Thanks very much for your time, and I look forward to talking with you later on.
So we've got some questions. What have we got? So even if a company doesn't do work in civil engineering, we can maybe still supply to the Southgate wind farm. Andy, I think you've just answered that there. Do you want to repeat what you've said, other than civil engineering and actually helping building the wind farm? A bit like the chap from the Port of Ayr, it's all the associated, all the fallout from our works that the local economy can benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We don't always employ civil engineers. In fact, we do most of the civil engineering ourselves anyway. So the people that we need are people who don't do civil engineering. So the answer to that is yes. It's worth noting that if you are to work on site, then you would need a CSCS card or an MPORS card, which provides basic safety training, which allows you to have a familiarisation with construction works and site works.
And it's also the people that are working on site, you know, like you said, they're looking for accommodation, they use the local shops, blacksmith facilities, plant hire, plant repair.
Aye, all sorts of stuff. And a lot of the sort of kind of the services, servicing, are the contacts that we don't have locally, like say your plumbers or your electricians. Blacksmiths is another one that we quite often have to fix gates or do odd jobs on some of the temporary bridges that we've installed or some of the permanent bridges we've installed. There's quite often bits and pieces to do on that. Agricultural suppliers as well. A lot of the agricultural contractors have a bit of a crossover. So tractors and implements that go along with tractors we can use on site as well. Yeah.
And what we're trying to do at South Kyle is, for example, excuse me, I've been on the stand this morning, and if you, for example, supply a security service, rather than my response being the security's been let already, there's nothing for you at South Kyle, what we're trying to do is engage with our supply chain, take your details, and if you can hook up with the company that's already supplying, for example, it's security or concreting works, anything like that, where we can link up smaller businesses with larger businesses and just help that supply chain grow. That's something that is new really to RJ McLeod, that we're actually engaging with Skills Development Scotland and the Job Centre and trying to link up people who are out of work. If there's not a job for you at RJ McLeod, we're trying to cascade opportunities right down the supply chain and link in. Carol, you were going to add something there?
Yeah, I was just going to add there that although we're here today to talk about South Kyle Wind Farm, Vattenfall has a couple of other projects in the pipeline as well in the South West Scotland region. So it may well be that your business is planning ahead and thinking about where you might be in 5-7 years' time. And so those opportunities at further wind farms might be available too. So you know, please get in touch and drop us an email to the southkyle.windfarm@vattenfall.com email address with any inquiries or any thoughts. If you just want to make connections with us either for South Kyle in the immediate term in the next couple of years, or if you're planning ahead, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Carol. Another question, Andy, this is probably for you on the back of what you've just said. Do you require any structural steel, welfare building or such precast? And may I ask what agricultural equipment you are looking for?
Okay, so yeah, structural steel. We do structural steel. We have 2 buildings And again, this probably speaks to what Tina touched on there about cascading through to our supply chain. We have 2 buildings to construct. We've got the substation and the connection compound at New Cumnock substation to build, and the structural steel in both those structures. That work will be subcontracted out. We haven't let the subcontract yet, but the builder who builds a substation and the connection compound will be looking for structural steel, and that could well be something that they'll be looking for and looking for quotations for in the near future. We're hoping to get a start next month in May on site with the buildings. So that's a relevant one and up and coming. I see there's a question
So we
about
could
agriculture.
we could take details in the hub for that, Andy, couldn't we? And we'll get your QSs to try and link in. I don't see who's asked that question. I can't see who that's from. So if you have asked that question, if you go into the hub or come to our stand, we'll be going back onto the stand after this live Q&A, but we'll happily take your details and put you in touch with the people who are pricing the building works. Next question. I picture a wind farm to be really large with turbines. What are the needs of works? What are the needs of works on the site that I should be aware of? And I think you covered that in that question maybe came in while you were giving your talk, Andy. All the other supply chain opportunities that we have, accommodation and
the wind farm is really large.
I've got that delay.
There's 48 kilometres of road to construct on the project. That's not quite as far as Glasgow to Edinburgh, but it's in that same ballpark. There are 2 entrances to the site. One's near Carsfairn and just south of Dalmellington, and the other is near New Cumnock substation. And it covers 4 areas of 4 forests. So it's a huge area. And some places on the site you can stand and look around, and on every horizon, on every hill, there's an excavator, and that excavator is part of Southgate Wind Farm. So yes, it is a large area. But what are the needs of the works that I should be aware of? Well, at this moment in time, we are setting up a concrete batching plant, and one of the opportunities for employment for individuals or labour suppliers would be for truck mixer drivers to drive the concrete jaggers on site to supply the concrete. So there's a potential for local employment to drive the truck mixers. Otherwise, up and coming stuff is, well, in the summertime, we will be starting the cabling, and we'll be working with our subcontractor PSUK to install all of the array cables. And one of the materials that we'll be looking for a local supplier will be sand, so natural sand, to use to protect the cables. So that's one thing that's ongoing at the moment, one of our needs, and one thing that's fairly soon in the future. And our agents and sub-agents will be starting putting out inquiries for the sand. If you are interested in a job as a truck mixer driver, then we have those advertised in the local job centres.
And Megan was just saying our ECOW, Ecological Clerk of Works, you're getting her an assistant for the summer holidays. So that's something else that is quite a specialist thing that you might not associate with building a wind farm. You immediately think power, electricity, turbines, but we take care of the environment as we build. And Megan's looking for an assistant there, someone that's maybe at college studying something ecological related.
Absolutely.
So what we're trying, as these opportunities come up,
that's a great opportunity for someone. So if someone, I'll start putting my hand up now. That's what I'll do. it's a great opportunity. So if someone knows of a young person who might want a summer job, who's maybe studying one of these things and lives studying outdoor or environmental studies at college, please put them in touch with us, and we could give somebody a right good summer job. Sorry, Tina, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It's the slight delay when I'm waiting for you to speak, and then I speak when you've started. Right. Next question. We've done structural steel. Do you advertise supply chain opportunities? We've joined the Supplier Development Programme, which is funded by the Scottish Government. So what we're looking to do is to get all our opportunities up onto their webpage. That's what we would do. We're obviously here today to encourage you to contact us, and contact us if you're a social enterprise or supported business or third sector business. I would particularly like to speak to you. But Public Contracts Scotland, Open for Business, and the Supplier Development Programme, we are looking to start putting all our opportunities there. Yes, Carol? You're going to add something?
Thank you, Christina. I was just going to add there that, at Vattenfall, we are actively trying to develop and expand our supply chain database across Scotland. So again, as I say, just drop us a line, get in touch, and we can connect with you when opportunities arise, as well as those that are through RJ McLeod and other tier 1 contractors too. So I guess the message from both of us is really just get in touch, and we'll advertise opportunities with you as and when they arise.
We do not centrally buy at RJ McLeod. We've never centrally bought. So as for getting in touch, Andy's got a team. There's 4 or 5 of his team on the stand coming and going today. If you've not been at the stand this morning, certainly drop by this afternoon, or leave your details in the hub. Don't leave them in the chat because they delete. But if you leave your details in the hub, I can certainly link you up with the guys on site, and that's how we like to do business, face to face. We're struggling with that obviously just now, which is why we're doing this virtually today. But Meet the Buyer is a way that we connect with local businesses routinely. Andy's going to add something.
No, not sorry. I'm just going to see there's a few questions coming in thick and fast, and there's one question. We're a specialist land remediation and restoration contractor with the skills to lead and assist on a wide range of land management services. Is this likely a requirement for RJ McLeod? We don't have land remediation to carry out at South Kyle, but we do have restoration work to do around some of the earthworks. So depending on the skills that you provide, then that could be a yes. If you could leave your details in the hub again, please, we'll get in touch, or a link to your website. So that would be really good. Thank you. Yeah. Tina, another question here, if you don't mind. So Fergus Adams asks, have you appointed a designer for the off-site roadworks and vehicle route studies? So Fergus, thank you. We have, our designer is Sweco, formerly Grontmai, and there are other contractors, other consulting engineers who are working with some of the specialist subcontractors for the off-site roadworks, principally on some of the bridge strengthening works. But again, I would encourage you to leave your details in the hub. We do, although we have Sweco for the permanent works as a designer, I'm not sure what design works you guys specifically do, Fergus, but we quite often require temporary works calculations and design work. So if that's something that you might do, then please leave your details. It's always good to have contacts of that nature.
Oh, Christina, I think you're on mute.
Apologies. Yeah, if you leave your details in the hub, like Andy says, we can send out the standard paperwork that allows you to engage with us and go through the process of joining our supply chain, our list of approved vendors. A couple of other questions. Universal products such as workwear, stationery, are they sourced per contractor or dictated by Vattenfall? Both really. Andy, you get your stuff. Carol, you get your stuff. Everything's bought locally where it can be. Yeah, again, leave your details in the hub.
Yeah,
Do either of you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Eleanor,
Yep, I do.
I think
Yeah,
I recognize the name Eleanor. So, yep, let us know. Get in touch with us and let's connect. Yep.
A couple of minutes left.
Eleanor. So for workwear, especially, we have a number of suppliers, but we have a list of suppliers and for personal protective equipment and workwear. So please, so put your details in the hub. We can send you out. We can arrange to have a list of our typical requirements sent out to you. You can price that up, and we can get your name on the list and take it from there.
This one is from Amy. Is there a way of listing who the specialist subcontractors are for us to contact rather than to keep asking? Leave your details at the hub, ask your questions, and we can. The email address today is southkylewindfarm@vattenfall.co.uk. Carol, correct me, is that correct?
Southkyle.windfarm@vattenfall.com.
You can get them, come to our stand, come and chat with us on the stand, leave your details in the hub, and we can connect out with today. The whole point of today is to put faces to names and see that we're here to engage locally, and we can keep the conversation going after. I'm looking to see how much time we've got left. I think we've got maybe 2 more minutes. Do you plan to do more engagement events with other wind farm sites? Where can we get that information? Again, leave your details at the hub. Come along to the stand. Carol's got her hand up to add something there.
I was just going to say, from a Vattenfall perspective, each project, if you go into the vattenfall.com web page and then you look at the active projects within Scotland, if you go to each web page for each project, you can connect with each one. So there's some in the northeast of Scotland. There's Musdale near Oban, and there's a couple more in Dumfries and Galloway. So if you connect with each project separately, that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah. Oh, Andy, on you go.
I was just going to add there that those meet the buyer events and community engagement events are useful. A couple of years ago, I attended a couple with Vattenfall in Kilmarnock and in Dumfries, and we're actually employing some of the companies that I met at those events here now at South Kyle. So they're useful events to attend if you have the time.
Yeah, if there's nothing today, it's certainly ideal to leave your details, and we'll keep them in contact for future opportunities. Our submissions manager has been on the stand this morning, and I think Ewan is coming back in to help this afternoon. So for inquiries at tender stage, it's also useful that you can, as Carol says, plan for the future. What have we got? I think we've got 1 minute left. As well as providing specialist forestry advice, Bell Ingram, rural surveyors. Bell Ingram, leave me your details in the hub. We're going to run out of time to answer your question, but I'll certainly come back to you out with the live Q&A. Pop along to the stand. We're here until I think 2:30 today. Currently working, delighted. Says, I think we've probably run out of time. Yeah, 30 seconds. So on behalf of Andy and Carol and myself, thanks for listening to us today, and come along and chat to us. We're here for another hour and a bit at least, and we'll be on the stand, the RJ McLeod South Kyle Wind Farm Vattenfall stand. Thanks again. Take care. See you later.
Thank you. Thank you.